Welcome back to Hot Stove. One of the teams that was sneaky under the radar this offseason in terms of getting busy, the Chicago White Sox did a tremendous job. Look at the additions, big names in Jeff Samardzija, David Robertson. You also had Zach Duke, Melky Cabrera, Adam LaRoche. I mean, the White Sox jumped in with both feet here, Ron.
Well, I think, I don't think it's a secret anymore. They really have made some great strides. And I think they also, of all the teams out there, they saw what they needed to address, and they addressed each one, which I think is pretty amazing.
Now, let's welcome in Vice President and General Manager for the Chicago White Sox, Rick Hahn, joining us now on Hot Stove. And, Rick, thanks for calling in. So take us through what the plan was heading into the offseason, because not many people, I believe, thought that the White Sox would be as active as you guys have been.
The plan sort of goes back to the trade deadline of 2013. Obviously, the die was cast on that season being a disappointment fairly early on, which gave us the opportunity to sort of take a step back and assess where we needed to go as an organization and areas we had to get better. At that point, we were able to turn Jake Peavy into a guy like Avi Garcia, as well as Frankie Montas and a few other prospects, which also allowed us, along with the Alex Rios trade, to free up a little bit of cash and put us in a position to add Jose Abreu in the offseason. We added to that Adam Eaton, and all of a sudden, with the existing players such as Chris Sale and Jose Quintana, we felt we were in the process of putting together a solid young core, which was one of the main goals at that point, was to rebuild the nucleus of this club. And when the time was right, add more veteran-type players to help us make that push. Frankly, obviously Chris Sale has continued to develop into one of the premier pitchers in the game. Jose Quintana, one of probably the more underappreciated starters in the game. And the way Jose Abreu took the scene, it became clear to us that this was coming along a little more quickly than we anticipated. So early in the offseason, we sat down as a group, Jerry Reinsdorf, Kenny Williams, Buddy Bell, Robin, Don Cooper, and Todd Steverson, and a few others, and took a sort of tough assessment of where we were. The marching orders coming out of that meeting from Jerry was that he realized we had a fair amount of holes. In fact, I think a few more than he originally anticipated. But he wanted us to not lose out on the opportunity to take advantage of the prime of Jose Abreu and Chris Sale's careers, as well as a few of the others we had already assembled. And the marching orders would go out and put us in a position to contend. So we began knocking things off that list in fairly rapid succession, and are fairly pleased with where we sit right now.
Rick, for a player that was there last year, when a player exceeds, maybe not your wildest dreams, but Jose Abreu was so good last year, what kind of expectations do you have for him the next season?
It's a great question. I think we saw him over the second half wear down a little bit, and that was part of the reason for the LaRoche acquisition. Obviously, Adam's tremendous in the clubhouse and a great middle-of-the-order left-handed bat that we can slide in between Jose and Avi Garcia. But at the same time, he has the ability to go out and play some first base, get Jose off his feet, and allow him a breather on a fairly regular basis so he can stay fresh through the whole season. If he replicates last season's performance, that would be fantastic. We'll take that right now. That said, given that he did run out of gas a little bit and that he now knows what to expect from the pitchers and from the travel and from what it's like playing in the league, there certainly is reasonable to expect that he's going to be able to replicate or perhaps improve in certain areas. But obviously, he was fantastic. He got to the level that we hoped he would get to, but did so much quicker than we frankly anticipated.
Rick, Ken Rosenthal here. It's always fascinating from the outside to see when a team jumps. And you gave a great explanation of why you guys decided to make the moves you did and to go into this mode this offseason. What I'm curious about is how much are you influenced by external factors as well, such as the state of the division? Jerry, you said, obviously saw the state of the team, your team, and said, okay, let's go here. But was part of that the idea that maybe Detroit's not as good, maybe Kansas City slides back, and that the division is there for the taking?
It's a great question. I think the only role that the division really could play is almost as a deterrent from us making that push. In other words, we don't look around and see the team that won the AL championship in Kansas City or the team that's won the division the last 4 years in Detroit as necessarily coming back to the pack. But if we viewed them as impossible for us to get to their level, the level they've shown last year and the several years leading up in Detroit's case, then it might have been, you know what, this is a fool's errand. We're not going to throw good money after bad just to get up to a level that isn't going to be enough to catch those clubs. So it wasn't so much that we saw them coming back as we saw us possibly getting up to their level as reasonably attainable.
Rick, you're doing it all these days. Not only are you moving some pieces around in the White Sox organization, you're cooking dinner, you're serving dinner at the Ronald McDonald House. I mean, what's going on? Tell us a little bit about that activity.
You know what? That's a great partnership between Chicago White Sox Charities and the Ronald McDonald House. And I sort of swooped in because I had a little extra free time on my hands to come in and help serve some meals to the family staying at the Ronald McDonald House in Chicago, where in reality, the Chicago White Sox Charities and many, many other White Sox employees have been working on that partnership for months on end. And this was just another in a series of events we've had over there, which allows us to give a little something back. You know, it's a priority for us. Myself in particular, and people in the baseball department, are extremely focused on our performance on the field, but frankly, the Jerry Reinsdorf, our performance off the field, is every bit as important. And that was my small way of giving back. And my grilled cheese game is strong, so it's the least I can do to share it with people.
It looks strong. They look pretty good. So, Rick, look, we appreciate you spending some time with us on Hot Stove, and the best of luck to you and the White Sox moving forward.
I appreciate it, guys. Take care.